So the Golden Globes just happened and everybody is talking about one thing, and that is Emilia Perez winning a ton of awards. So for the most part, I will tell you my backstory with Emilia Perez. I heard about this movie at Cannes, heard it was getting some pretty great reviews and praise over there, and I always found it odd that it was a French filmmaker making a Mexican film, but we'll get into that in a bit. Then a little bit of time rolled around and it was going to premiere at TIFF, and I was like, okay, I'm going to TIFF, I'm going to make my way to watch this movie, and I will tell you, this was one of the most packed screenings at TIFF. Like, people were there to watch this movie, and after it, I will tell you, I was a fan. I really enjoyed a lot of the music in this. I thought that the way that it's presented, the style and all of that really fleshed out, and I was just very fascinated by Saldaña's performance in this. It is such a layered performance, and like, I've never seen Saldaña before. I think Gascón as well was a tremendous actress, and you know, I was happy with the movie, but I saw it and I thought to myself, I just don't see this really going and leading the award seasons, right? Well, if history repeats itself like it always does, we've seen movies like this in the past before, where you watch it and you're just like, I don't see that really winning awards like that. Like, it was a fun time, it had some great moments and things like that. I see the problems within, and I know that there's like something in it that's just not right. And there's films like The Green Book, there's films like Crash in the past that definitely fit that model, and then ultimately go on to win the big one. Emilia Perez is definitely one of those movies that could go on to win Best Picture come the Oscars in a couple of weeks, and I would not be surprised at all. Like, I'm not gonna be here in that day and be like, what? I'm just gonna be like, kinda saw that. A little disappointed, but we kind of saw that. So I just want to talk about some of the things that I feel about Emilia Perez. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. So Emilia Perez, as I said, this film got its premiere at Cannes, and it got a ton of great reception over there. And there's been a ton of people in the industry that have called this one of their favorite films. Like, I'm reading right here, these are some of them right now, including Guillermo del Toro. You also have Michael Mann. You have people like Meryl Streep. You have James Cameron, Denis Villeneuve, amongst others in here that are just calling it a masterpiece, singular experience on reading, bold and daring. And I will tell you, this is a musical that feels like that. It almost has such a Baz Luhrmann type feel to it. It is just insane ride to watch, honestly. And watching it at TIFF in a crowded room with a bunch of people and those moments on the screen and stuff, I agree, it definitely has a lot going for it there. But I think once you start to peel it and go deeper into it, you see it feels a little bit hollow in the way it's presented. And I don't think that's anybody's fault. I think a lot of times people just need to work, people need these breakthroughs, and that's great. That's important in the industry. We know this industry is unforgiving, it's cold. This could be your big opportunity to really branch out regardless of what it is, and I am not faulting anybody for it. I also think some people just have a notion that they think they know, but they really don't know, and I think that's a problem that happens more and more often as we see it, especially in an industry that doesn't really diversify itself, is what I'll just say right now. Now, Jack Adoir is a director here, and of course it will be a final say with whatever Jack wants to do, right? And he's free to make whatever movie he wants. That is no problem at all, but I think it does serve to be also analyzed and criticized. Like, one of the big things is it's a French director making a Mexican film, and it's not even filmed in Mexico, or it doesn't really have a Mexican production behind it as it should, right? And I think that was one of the big problems that I just found out about it when I first heard about this movie premiering at Cannes. I just thought it was so odd. Not saying that Saldaña or Gascón aren't amazing actresses, and that was a big problem with it as well. And I can't speak on the LGBT community and stuff like that, but I've been reading a couple of things that have been talked about and things like that, including from GLAAD as well, and I found it interesting as well. Now, one of the people in the industry that has sort of come off to talk about this is actually Rodrigo Prieto, great cinematographer, honestly. Just recently, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Wolf of Wall Street, just to name a few, and he actually had some words. He actually said that the film was completely inauthentic, which I think is a fair analysis of the film. We've heard Eugenio Derbez's comments as well before. We've seen that Jack Adoir's broad comments acknowledging as well that he hadn't really researched the Mexican context in depth, and things like that with the film have kind of rubbed people the wrong way. So it's been an interesting ride with Emilia Perez. And I think at the Golden Globes, I think we always see how detached really I think the creatives are when it comes to film and all of that, which I almost borderline with them as well. I understand that there is a notion to not want to be like, oh, you can't do this, because it kind of takes away from that creative freedom of sorts. But I think that you have to reel it a little bit back in, because I think that Jack Audois could have made this film. He could have made it French, and I think that that is a big thing about it. He could have made a musical that revolved around all of this into something that he already knew, or if not, at best, get some people that know. And I think that's something that I think artists have to take into account when they're creating something, is if you don't really know about a certain situation, maybe you shouldn't be writing or trying to give your interpretation of it until you've talked to others. And at the end of the day, Jack can do whatever the hell he wants. He can go make another film. He doesn't have to listen to me. If somebody who's watching this is listening as well and they don't want to listen to me and just do the movie they want to do, that's fine. But they also should be able to just hear what people have to say, because people will talk, people will say what they need to say, and that's totally fine as well. But I think it's interesting seeing the run that Emilia Perez has with award season, and it sort of has this almost, I would say, like, it almost has like this plot armor when it comes to the award seasons, right? Because you hear more and more about this film and more of this criticism coming through it from the critics, from the audiences, and all of that. And it doesn't matter. It keeps on triumphing and winning awards. I think Saldaña deserves the award. I think the music is great, so that award won as well. I don't necessarily think it should have won the Best Picture award either. I just feel like that was definitely one that was just the most baffling. The other two, I could kind of see. The Best Picture one, I just couldn't see that one. But like I said, I am not blaming anybody for this movie. I think that everybody's just doing what they are doing. And I think that these are just some criticisms that are valid, in my opinion. And we'll see what happens once the Oscars roll through. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this wins Best Picture. Now, I'll be talking about the other movies as well, but yeah, Emilia Perez, let me know what you think about it, if you enjoyed it, if you hated it. Like I said, I love a lot of aspects of it. I think that it has an incredible vision. I think the music is wonderful. The performances are great as well. I think the direction as well as the framing of the shots are just great, honestly. I love some of the superficial elements that it had with Mexican culture and stuff like that, but like I said, it doesn't really dive deep into it. I don't think it grasps the knowledge of the Mexican culture enough to really make it excellent, because it could have been a truly excellent film. I think Jack Audois could have made this film. I think he just needed to have more people in his corner that knew about the culture and things like that. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. And like I said, it's just opinions, and we are free to have them, as they are free to make whatever they want. So that's that. So let me know yours in the comments down below. I'll have some more videos today, as I will talk about The Brutalist next in a review, and we'll talk more spoilers of The Brutalist later in the week. But make sure you follow us, subscribe, hit that notification bell. On the road to 40,000 right now. Let's get to it. Stay safe, stay positive.